Hello everybody and welcome back. And in the previous tutorials we actually added some of the additional functions to our reverse shell, such as using a screenshot on target's monitor, also uploading downloading files from the internet, using a help command, changing directory, and so on. Now, as we can see right here, I just want to show you that in the help options I also added the Q command, since we didn't specify in the previous video. So we have the Q command that will actually exit the reverse shell. So make sure to add it right there, so the users, once they use, for example, your program, your server, know what they need to specify in order to actually exit the shell. So right now what we want to do is we want to add another big option to our reverse shell, which is the keylogger. But before we actually implement the keylogger in our backdoor itself, let us see how we can actually code one in a simple program using a library that Python actually has. Now that library is not installed in the Kali Linux, so we need to pip install it. I already did, but I will show you what you need to do. So let us exit this. What you need to do is type here pip install pynput. Now this will actually download it for you. As you can see right here, for me it says requirement already satisfied for the pynput library. So I will just open my Python 2 interpreter. So Python. And in order for us to actually import what we need, we just need to type here import pynput.keyboard. Why are we using the pynput.keyboard? Well, basically because we want to make a keylogger which will capture all the keystrokes from the target machine. So we use the .keyboard available option or function in the pynput library. Now, we can write a simple but not really useful keylogger in just a few functions. So let me just show you how we can do that. In order for us to actually make that keylogger, let us actually open a new file. We will use the same directory as this one, so we don't actually make multiple directories for this. So let us nano keylogger 1.py. Since this is our prototype, we will add our standard path, so user bin python, and then we will import python or pynput.keyboard. So that's the library that we will use. Now, right here, let us actually set up a listener for our keyboard keystrokes. So in order to do that, you need to specify this function, so keyboard, and then after that dot listener, which will listen, or basically it will capture the keystrokes and it will process them in a certain function. So you just type here on underscore press equals, and then you need to specify the name of the function that we will use. So we will use process underscore keys. You can name this function anything you want. We didn't even code it yet. It will be a simple function for this first tutorial of keylogger, but let us just for now on code the rest of this. So the next thing we need to code is with keyboard underscore listener, and then two dots. Then make sure to tap the next thing that we will use, which will be dot join. Now this, let me just type here, so keyboard underscore listener dot join, and then two brackets. This will basically perform a listening on our keyboard, and now all we have to do is code a function that will actually do something with those recorded keystrokes. What we want to do in a keylogger for now on is just print those letters. So let's actually code our function that we specified right here, which is the process keys. So make sure to call it the same, process keys. And in that function, what we want to actually input is the key itself. So what this will do, the listener will call that function and it will pass all the keys that were input into that function. And what we want to do with those keys is just print them. Print key. So basically, when someone types in, this will listen for the incoming input in the keyboard, then it will send the key back to this function. And what this function will do is it will print the key itself. So let's see how this simple thing will work from now on. So let us actually control O this, ls chmod +x on the keylogger, and let us actually run the keylogger. Keyboard listener is not defined. Oh, make sure to actually call this the keyboard listener as well, so keyboard underscore listener. That's because I specify here listener and here use keyboard listener. So in order for this to work, you need to specify the same name for all of this, since this is the class that we used and actually delivered to the keyboard listener. We use the listening with the Pynput library, and right now all we want to do is Ctrl-O save, and then we want to actually run this, so keylogger1.py. And you can see if you just press here enter, nothing will really happen, it will just run. But if you start typing in your keyboard some random letters, you will see it will start printing them out. What this means basically is that it actually records our keystrokes and just prints them at the same time at the screen. So you can see ASD, everything here is printed. Now this U right here stands for Unicode, we will have to remove that as well. And you can see right here, if I just press here some buttons on my keyboard that are not letters, you can see key tab, key enter, key space, key backspace, and so on. So we will need to actually change this a little bit, but for now on this is just a simple keylogger. Let us see what we can actually do with it, so just change it just a little bit. So let's open our keylogger1.py. We have the process function. This part right here we will not even change at all, since this is the standard part that we need to use in order to actually listen for keystrokes. What we want to change is the process keys function. So instead of actually printing the key, let us not print it right here, let us actually write the key to the file. Since if you, for example, think about it, if you actually just use this function on our backdoor, we do not have anything basically for printing. We do not have any use of the reverse shell printing the keys at the screen. We want to write those keys into a function or into a file, and then we can read from that file or send the contents of that file to the server, which can actually read the keystrokes. Then of course after that we would need to delete the file itself. So right now let us open a simple file, so with the regular command with open, and what we want to do right here is call the file anything we want, so let's call it keys.txt, or let's just call it keylogger so we know what it is, so keylogger.txt. And we want to actually use right here not the W or not the read, we want to use A option, which stands for append, because if we use write option, it will just rewrite every keystrokes before the current one. So we want to actually add the keystrokes one to another, so we can actually get a full sentence in that file, or basically whatever the target has typed in their keyboard. So let us call this as, for example, fin, and then we want to write the keys to that file. So we can see this function process, we can get the key to, we send the key to that function, and right now we want to write the string of this key to that function. Now let me just show you, so fin.write, and we want to write the string of this key. So let us save this, and let's see how this will do. If we just go right here, and we run our keylogger1.py, you can see now, even if I just type here hello world and press enter, nothing will actually be printed out as in the previous example of keylogger, as in the first example of keylogger. So let us close this right now, but if I just type here ls here, you can see we get a file called keylogger.txt. So let us cat that file to see what is in that file, so keylogger.txt, and you can see here we have hello world. Now it is a little bit ugly since it has this U option right here before every letter, so we will make sure to remove that in the next video. For now on, we actually saw how we can print out the keystrokes into a file, which is very useful for us. So what we actually want to do at the end is actually have a file that will be a hidden file, and by hidden I mean it will also be, for example, in the app data environment. While we use it, we want to capture the keystrokes in that file of the target, and then we want to send the keystrokes back to our server. And then at the end of the using the reverse shell, we want to delete that file. So basically, when someone specifies the Q option in our backdoor, it will delete the file out of that directory. So that would be about it for this introductory tutorial for the keylogger. This will be a much simpler program than our backdoor, so don't worry, this will not be that long. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye!